Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Dovetail Games. Dovetail Games. Hey, look, hey, I'm good here. And this evening we're going to be introducing you to the Northern Trans-Pennine new route for Train Sim World. Wait, I'm going to introduce you. Just give it some. I've got to do some. You know, I'm the warm-up act. You're the main event. I'm being joined by Adam Lucas. Adam is something senior, and I should have noted down his job description. Senior producer on Train Sim World. Therefore, he knows absolutely everything there is to know, and I'm here to help facilitate that he can actually get things done. Anyway, for this evening's drive, we're going to have Adam is going to be Maverick. I'll be Goose. So I'll be a little way back here, casting my judgment over his allegedly expert performance. And he only makes the game, and therefore we would hope that he's going to be good at it. Anyway, let's say hi to a few people who are in the chat. This is what we in the streaming business call engagement. So who have we got here? Pedalston looks different. Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Matt Pedalston will be along for the second portion of this stream to show you off the early doors new editor. Anyway, we're going to say hi. We'll start with Pixelator. Good evening. MSJN. Hello there. Dire Fulace. Hello. Max the Almighty. Hi. Shukal. Class 92 _015. Hello. Steve Francis. Matthew. Yo, I see it's going quick now. We've got Sociopath. We've got Dire Fulace again. We've got Rob Koo NL from the Netherlands. Neil Murphy and Eddie Stowaway and it's going at speed. Right, that's enough of that. Let's get on with business. Over to you, Adam. What are we looking at first?
So we're going to be doing the North Trans-Pennine today. It is a route set in the 80s. So this is actually the first period route that we've done for Train Sim World.
I can tell you all about it.
And that's been quite a challenge because we can't just go out and photograph everything that exists and recreate it. So, yeah, a bit of artistic license.
Artistic license. How much reference stuff do you tend to pick up? So you're looking at photos and video from the time and
absolutely
and
everything we can get our hands on. So yeah, videos, cab rides, audio recordings. So there used to be a lot of people that went out and recorded just the audio side of it. Memoirs, articles, magazines. Yeah, anything. People's accounts. We even have a couple of stars in the office. Steve, I'm going to call you out. Who have great memories to bring to us. So yeah, we were literally trawling everywhere we could to get material.
Okay, smashing. Show us the route, because we decided we'll give you a quick look at the route map first, so you can see the kind of the extent of it. This is the international diagram for the route map. I've got it written down here because I'm prepared. Unlike some people I can mention, I don't care if you did pull these notes together. I prepared them. I am the one that is prepared. You are but the driver. Okay, so where do we start out?
I'm going to scroll down here to the southern end, or the western end, Manchester, Victoria. So this is where our route begins, and it takes the Northern Trans-Pennine route. There are 3 routes that cross the Pennines, or there were originally. There are now only 2 left. So we're taking the northern one across the Pennines. It travels up to a place called Miles Pladding that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore. That's one of our older stations. So again, it's one of those areas we really had to dig into the detail to find out what it looked like.
What is Miles Pladding?
It's a lovely little junction station.
Oh, okay. Fine.
Junction station. We then travel through Park, Ashton-under-Lyne, through to Staley Bridge, which is another junction station. This would be for any trains that were avoiding Manchester. They would join from the south and then up over this route. We carry on up to Moseley, Greenfield, and then into the Standish Tunnel. It's this long section here. This drives under the centre of the Pennines as we cross from the Manchester side to the Yorkshire side. We then have Marsden, which forms our key art, the beautiful canal that comes out from Standish there as well, and then the river that passes over the top of the railway. So that's pretty picturesque. We then carry on to Slaithwaite and Huddersfield. That's the centre of our route. We'll be doing a scenario later on that gets there and then departs from there.
Nice.
We carry on to Dayton, Murfield, Ravensthorpe, up to Dewsbury. That's quite it's not seen as a reasonably large size station, but it's quite a popular one on the railway timetable. So that's quite a feature place that we've put effort into. Batley, Morley, Whiteley Road is the junction outside Leeds. So if I zoom in here, there's a small triangle basically of the route. And you have on the north side our Leeds station. So this is going to be based on the 80s version, not the version with the lovely white roof and trusses that you see today, all the glass, the modern, but equally not the rundown steam version either, the steam era route back in the 60s. This was the interim station where they had a lot of dilapidation. There was areas that had just been not looked after, not maintained. So there's a few leaky roof areas as well. But I think it really sets the tone of the route really nicely. So we'll end up there on our second scenario.
What's the other one?
The last area, is Holbeck Depot.
Right.
So at the Leeds end, we've included the traction maintenance area where all the locomotives are taken to be refueled or maintained. And that is accessed through this triangle. And then back at the other end, I forgot to mention, was Newton Heath Depot. That's more of a passenger and multiple unit maintenance area rather than locomotives.
Beautiful work. Okay, so how long are we talking route-wise, all in all?
In total, the route is 43 miles from Manchester up to Leeds. That's not as the crow flies, that is following the track of the route up and over the Pennine.
Oh, okay, cool. Right, well, enough of this map, gubbins. Sticks in a train, man. I've come here to see trains. It's a very nice jumper that you're sporting there. I'm not sure that that's official uniform, but I'll allow it. Right, what are we doing first?
We're doing scenario number 1, which is called Trans-Pennine. We'll be driving a 101D MMU, that's diesel mechanical multiple unit.
I was going to say that. I was prepared.
We're going to be driving from Stalybridge up to Huddersfield.
Look at that. Oh, I see. Now, when I record a video of this later, I'm not going to be able to be quite as stoked. Sorry, that's an American term. I'm incredibly stoked at the appearance of this. No, you've got to drop down the train. Drop down the length. There you go. Oh, this is fabulous. So what time of day is it now?
9:14 in the morning, so it's reasonable. Everyone's woken up. So.
Yeah, this looks like the north. Yeah, I've been there a few times. I can tell. This is terribly authentic. All right, fantastic. Right, what's our agenda for this particular mission?
So what we'll be doing is a short all stations passenger stopping service, and we'll be dropping off people along the way, local stops, nothing express or anything like that. So
nice.
It's a nice little jaunty one.
Yeah. No, you see, you could get in there, but gee, I'm not going to get all the way through. This is a multiple unit. You're going to.
The first thing I want to do is set up the rear lights so that everyone knows this is the rear of the train. Yeah. Certainly a first in Train Sim World, we have working destination points. So we're going up to Huddersfield.
Awesome.
So let me just set that.
That's great.
There we go.
Show me. I need to see. Look at you closing the door after you're done as well.
Well, we don't want any passengers.
Can you stop it midway between the destinations? Because every train I've ever seen had the old roller blinds on there. They've never locked it into position properly.
Well, this is it. This is why it's actually slightly unlocked just there as well. So.
For authenticity purposes.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Right, we've got some... Oh, hello there, nurse. How are you doing?
We also have period authentic characters. So we've made sure we've captured some of the details.
I wasn't talking about the lady. I was talking about the train. The people are the people. Actually, now that you mention it, now that they're in... just in case you're wondering why I'm over here, that's where we've got the action. Your chatter is happening here. Apparently we've got no in-game sound. Oh, well, that's a real pain, because we've got no means of monitoring it. Unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about that, because it would involve quite a lot of messing around to make sure it's working. Terribly sorry about that, but it's on. We've got it turned on. Try cranking that one up there a little bit, will you? The audio on there. If you can get there eventually. It's locked. It's locked. Okay. No, unfortunately, yeah. This is you can hashtag blame DTG. That's perfectly allowable. I will provide authentic sound effects where possible as we proceed. Given that, mind the train noises. You got it right. Yeah, I'll keep yourself to yourself. You get us underway because we don't want to be late.
Yeah, so we are already loading passengers.
Good man.
So I have opened the doors. They're heading down. Obviously, some people want to wait for the next train. They've seen that I'm driving, so they're going to hold fire.
They've seen that I'm not driving. That's what it is, because I've got form. I've got a reputation. Okay, well, that's a problematico technical. Apologies for the lack of sound. Oh, sure, blame me. Thanks. Yeah, blame Adam. Well, I think they're blaming everybody, to be honest. So none of us are getting out of this scot-free. Fortunately, we're in a hidden location. Right, away we go. Right, show me around the cab. What have we got going on here?
Again, first for Trains in World is we have a geared vehicle. So instead of simply releasing the brakes and applying power, you actually have to gear up or gear down to increase or decrease your speed, just like you would in a car. So on the right-hand side here, I have the gear lever, and that goes up from 1 to 4. And in combination with that, I now have on the HUD a rev counter, and in the middle will indicate which gear I'm going to be using. There is no brake pressures in this other than the vacuum, so those dials have been changed as well. And then obviously as I change up through the gears, I'm going to use the throttle as normal on the left side here. What we have done as well is made sure that you can't simply apply power and then rock it away. When you change gear, just like in the car, you need to throttle off a bit, let the gears engage, and then you can apply power again. So hopefully I will manage to do all that in one go, and we'll seamlessly drive along.
I have to ask, because I'm not proficient, what is that nipple in the middle of the dashboard?
This is the AWS alarm.
Oh, that's the AWS, is it? Okay,
yes.
Fine.
So I can push that. Although in the period that we're dating the route in the 1980s, that was a brand new system coming in. It was in a very few places in the UK, mostly in the western region. So there aren't many places on this route where it's actually featured. But it is a function of the train, so it is implemented.
So to catch up on a couple of questions that we've had, we'll do some external views once we're rolling. Is this running on Simulgraph?
It is, yeah. This has a completely custom Simulgraph, being a brand new train. I believe, in fact, all 3 trains in this pack have their own Simulgraph systems.
Beautiful. And when do we know when console is happening yet?
I don't know.
No, but
yeah,
eventually. So it will trot on once in a while. Good. Is there any audio for those of you who are arrived a little behind schedule? No, there isn't any audio because someone who I don't know who to blame. Because Matt Pellston, he went on holiday and it's broken. And he broke the audio before he left. Just in here, there is plenty of audio in the game, in the route itself, and I appreciate that audio is at least, 46% of the authenticity required. Yeah, apologies for that. Problematico technical, and then there is not a lot we can do about it at present. Yeah, I just threw Matt under the bus because he's not here to blame himself. Plus, he's going to redeem himself later because he's going to show you the editor. So there you go. And he knows me, and therefore he's going to let me off. Good, right. Oh, this is a handsome looking bit of action going on here.
Yeah. So actually, while I've reached the maximum revs on gear 1,
you're speeding.
Just saying. I'm just over. It's the only yellow. It's exceptional. Going into Scout Tunnel. I don't need to change up yet. It's very dark. There we go.
You don't?
I don't need to change up yet. Well, actually, now that I'm in the tunnel, the speed limit has increased. Yep. So, rather than just jump straight into the next gear, if we watch the rev counter down the bottom, I'm going to throttle down, go up a gear, and then throttle back up.
Give it beans, man.
There we go.
Whip them horses.
And you can see there is a little rev limiter for each engine that's under this vehicle. There's actually 2 engines per car in a Class 101. So actually in our 4-car unit here, we have 8 engines.
Okay, nice.
Max throttle again, so I'm going to throttle down.
Have you got your headlights on? It does appear to be quite dingy.
There aren't actually headlights in this era. We only have marker lights, as there were in the steam era in the UK. So there are little lights. I've got them switched on here.
So you just drive through it hoping that the zombies from 28 Days Later aren't in there waiting to steal your train and bite your ankles. Okay, fair enough. What else have we got going on? Can you put the blinds down behind the driver? Can't feel like go that. And more importantly, can you open the windows? I find
sure that they might not be though. But I can certainly open the door.
Well, that's the opposite of putting the blinds down. That's
like, I can invite people in.
Come on in. Come and witness my marvellous experiment. Good. That's the bit that matters. As long as the windows are open, and presumably the sound has a bit of a tweak to it with windows open. I love it. Hello, Seb. Well, I'm going to say this once or twice more, I suspect. No, we've not got game sound going on because someone here, I think it might be the CEO, decided that we didn't need sound for the stream this evening. There is plenty of sound on the route itself and in the locos, but it's not quite working on the stream. But hello. That's very pretty.
I've even got the driver looking back at us.
This is very good. Yeah, your driver doesn't look as good as mine. I've got a nice Nigerian lady who drives my trains, and she's a dab hand. Right, what else have we got going on in here? Make your own sound. No, maybe later. How would you go about changing gears with the Xbox controller? And what's the key configuration you've got going on?
So on the keyboard, what I'm doing is using Control A to go up and Control D to go down, and then as I come into this station, just watching out there, sorry. On the controller, we've gone for D-pad up and D-pad down. D-pad down replacing the emergency brake. We found that a lot of users were getting caught out by pressing D-pad down and shutting down the train, so that is now the gear down and D-pad up is gear down.
Oh, that sounds relatively straightforward. Oh, it's Max. This is going to be a running commentary here. No, there isn't any sound on the stream this evening because there isn't any sound on the stream because someone didn't set the sound up correctly, and it certainly wasn't me who was brought in because I've got any kind of streaming experience. No. It's just not working. So apologies for the absence of sound. What else have we got going on? Sounds too. It would have been a sensory overload. Says Kate to UK. Can't help it. Flipping it, you slowed down quickly. How do you do that? Every time I try and slow down, I end up zipping straight through that. I missed it.
Well, it was while you weren't watching.
I was doing some engagement. It probably helps that you're going. You've got 0.8 degree up bubble at the moment. It's probably assisting you to slow down.
Yes. So on this system, the vacuum brakes, you actually have a lap system where the lever that I'm using on the right here. Let's open the door. The lever that I'm using on the right is setting a pressure for me to apply the brakes, and then I can hold it at that pressure by putting it back into the lap position. Then if I want to release that, I move it around to the release side, and I can watch my pressure build back.
There's absolutely no chance of doing this. Right, okay,
Build
smashing.
starts, so I'm going to hold the brakes while I'm on there.
Dev doesn't need the stop markers. Yeah, I know he doesn't. He's a pro. But then, I would expect nothing less from a mighty professional such as Adam. So, are you presumably over time you're expecting to release more locos that will run on this route?
Yeah.
I know we're going to look at the Class 45 after this, but you've got the Class 47 available as well, right?
Yes. So the 101, the 45, and the 47 come in the pack straight away.
And the 47 is not the one that people are used to.
No, it's not the one from West Somerset. It's not just a colour change. We've gone to quite an extent to change this to be a period authentic logo.
So this is Crodger's 2005. Do you have to start each unit separately like the old days on the 101?
Yes. Yes, if the unit is cold, you'd have to go down and go and start each engine. There are then the start and stop buttons inside the cab as well. And the tutorials take you through that process.
That's fine. Yeah, come on, we're behind schedule. I mean, I know we're in the era of British Rail here, but let's at least try and maintain some kind of arrival time. What have we got here? 9:28. We're due to stop at Greenfield. I am not feeling it.
I'm going to give it some welly, certainly. Let's go right.
It's 2 miles
revs.
away, man. You got no chance. Yeah, that's it. You failed the mission. Well, it's good to know it's just not me. Usually I'll be almost on time at every single station, apart from the one where I run through a red signal. So that's good. Copper over on Mixer is asking how big are the maps on this one, and the track length is 43 miles, door to door. But how much do you actually go beyond the track, right? Because obviously you fill out the scenery beyond just the kind of track side.
So are we talking side to side or end to end here? Side to side, we tend to stay within the railway boundary. So anywhere that is fenced off, that would be as far as the player can actually explore. In station-wise, it tends to be to the ticket barrier area or underpasses for bridges. And then in terms of going beyond, say, the final stations, we're probably talking about 200 to 300 metres. Certainly enough to be able to explore that station.
That's cool. So, and then you draw further beyond that, obviously, because we've got a hillside going on over there. So, do you just go to the visual limit, or how far do you tend to
go? Like you've pointed out, it is as far as the eye can see.
Right.
So obviously the scenery will tail off because we're right next to the track here. But yeah, certainly any of the Pennines that you can see from the track will have modeled those as well.
Right, beautiful. Fix the blur on wheels in motion. Is that apparently? Show me the blur on the wheels in motion.
So the faster they spin, the more blur.
Okay, fine. Interesting. What's the technical reason for that?
It's Unreal Engine. The wheel is literally spinning that fast in Unreal Engine, and so that is what happens to an asset when it moves at that kind of speed. What we're looking at is a way of switching over to something that's more suitable at that kind of speed. So it's actually a limitation in Unreal itself.
Okay, so because Unreal is trying to simulate the speed of it going on, you get this rippling effect going on. So some kind of graphic switch out almost. Which seems bizarre, switching out the graphic because Unreal likes to do kind of.
Well, exactly that. But certainly other mainstream games do the same thing. So we want to adopt the same thing.
Oh, that's a good question. We didn't prepare for that one in the slightest. I always thought that it was going to be dramatic there for a moment, but actually you've got an answer. Good work. What resolution do you work your models up to? 1080 or do you go to 4K? I mean, what's the scaling you do?
That actually is probably beyond my knowledge. I'm more in the implementation side than the literal graphics. So.
You just make it work.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
I prefer the term give it purpose.
Oh, Adam is the man who gives it purpose. Do I have a Twitch channel? Yes, I do. But I'm not here to talk about me. There are several in there who will be able to tell you who to look for. But I live on YouTube primarily, rather than Twitch. Anyway, back to the game. Make this. No. We've got to stay on topic. I'm going to do stuff that we have pre-prepared. Now, a couple of questions that I've had a look at in terms of they come up all the time. When's Steam coming to Train Sim World?
Steam is a very complicated system. Implementing each of our trains takes an awful lot of time, an awful lot of details, technical implementation, and Steam is still a level above what we're achieving at the moment. So we want to certainly grasp what we're already developing, and then we will move to Steam. We know it's a massive factor in the train world. We know it's something all of our fans want. It's something we want. So it'll definitely be on the radar, but when is the question?
When is the question? So the answer to the question of when is we don't have a date yet.
No.
I say you don't have a date yet.
Matt doesn't have a date yet.
Matt doesn't have a date yet. Well, that's fine. No, I get that it's slightly more complicated than. Well, presumably you want to get it right first time.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, and the other one is then multiplayer. Presumably that's a similar kind of situation.
Exactly. Yeah. So what we're doing is building up our catalogue of routes of trains. We want the player to have a lot of choice, and then we'll be looking at things like multiplayer. Unreal is capable of those systems. So it's just in the development cycle of the stuff that we have in mind.
Okay. We had someone saying, is there a Steam working prototype yet? Doubtful at this stage, isn't it?
Yes.
Right. Unfortunately, not at the moment. Because I know, because the follow-up question there would be, can we see it? And we'd be like, no, you can't see it. Oh, you've got something here, just keeping it to yourself, keeping it secret. Where are we off to next? Marsden.
Yeah, at 37, so we're at 32. We're a few minutes behind, certainly. But that's within tolerable limits for British roads.
That's hopeless. What we won't talk about today is upcoming plans for further DLC, further routes and logos and stuff, because things tend to move around until they're locked in, and also they'll hit me with a chair if I say anything of that kind. So if you want to hold on to those questions for the moment, that would be grand. And we'll try and focus just on the Northern Pennine and on this one.
Just on that note, actually, you can see I've tried to go up to gear 3, Ooh. But the revs have gone completely out. So what I've done is, before the gear can engage, I've increased the throttle, and the gear's now slipping. So
ruined.
You can see that down here, the gear is grey, so it's not engaged. So what I need to do is throttle down.
I'm going to see that a lot.
Wait for those revs. The gear's gone white, and then I can throttle back up again. And you can see now where the revs start to bite, the gear is actually engaged. So.
Interesting. So do you have the motion of a clutch then for this?
Effectively, yeah. It's not quite a clutch in a car, but it's definitely a clutch mechanism.
Okay. All right. Interesting. I look forward to failing this one miserably. Okay, smashing. Is it Leeds City or Leeds Central that you're working with station-wise?
I believe, because I know on the map where we were looking, it is Leeds City. Central was the one that went straight on from the junction of the Huddersfield line, and we curve around and through quite a tight station throat to get into Leeds. So.
Amarillo has done a terrific job on answering the why is there no sound question. The reason there is no sound is because we broke it on the stream. There is sound in the route, and obviously the locos all have sound, but we wrecked it on the stream. So that's us. That's our fault. In fact, I'm taking no responsibility at all. Jolly good. Okay, so good. How far out are we now? Where are we?
We're heading for Marsden, so we're going to go through across the peak of the route through Standish Tunnel, and we have 4.5 miles to go. So we have some nice time to enjoy the scene.
Well, that's good. How long does it typically take to kind of plan out the scenery for a route? And not the route itself, because I realise a lot goes into that. But what's the kind of time split between the route itself and then the surrounding area?
So it actually takes about 4 months to make each route. We have quite a sizable team of different disciplines, like building the environment, or making the trains, or doing the audio setup, setting up the missions, which is the area that I'm involved in, through to the manual and the localization. So roughly 3 to 4 months is where we aim for. But I think given where we started with the research in terms of time in the year, we've probably been dabbling on this route for about 6 months now. So we were really excited that it would actually come out and be our Christmas release.
And how do you go about deciding which routes to come up next? I don't mean the specifics, more vaguely. Is there a big bun fight between people in the office? And
near enough, yeah. We're all rail enthusiasts ourselves, and we want to cater for our 3 main markets: the US, the UK, and Germany. So we have to make sure that we don't spend too much time in one particular region. So we tend to. Oh, I am actually speeding there a little bit. I'm not watching the speed. You're distracting me.
Well, don't worry about that. You focus on this. And, if you go quiet, I'll fill in with pithy comments.
So I think this is Standish Tunnel now we're going through. So it's going to be a bit dark for a while. And we can re-engage the throttle. So yes, we're all rail enthusiasts. We all have the routes that we think are going to be the best. We all have the routes that we think are going to be really interesting for the players. But it's a case of we have what we want is variety for our customers. So yeah, we'll make sure that we don't do anything very similar to the previous release. We'll try and make sure that each route stands out on its own merit against all the routes that are available. So each of the experiences you get is something quite different.
That's cool. Over on the Mixer channel here, we've got Ace Dog 259 is asking, how long would it take to drive kind of end to end on this route?
We're driving from Staley Bridge, which is probably 20 minutes outside Manchester, and we're going as far as Huddersfield, and that is a 40-minute journey. And then beyond Huddersfield is probably, even an express, about another 25 minutes. So you're looking at least an hour, maybe an hour and 10. If you were doing all stops, probably even an hour and 30. Yeah, I was just out the corner of my eye. Yeah, so 67 is not so bad. So yeah, you're probably looking in a 101, probably about an hour or more. And in, say, one of the locomotives, one of the express locomotives, probably 45 minutes, 45.
And that's presuming you're not stopping.
Yes, some of our limited stop or express stops going between Manchester, Huddersfield, and Leeds. That would be the fastest journey. Certainly.
Okay, cool. Do you think to make a route in Russia? There are many. Yeah, and you know what? Because I think that there are an enormous number of different routes around the world that can be tried out. Where's the decision process as far as more exotic, let's say, outside of your three main audiences?
It's the following really. It's the customer base. It's where our users are. Where's the biggest demand? So we will definitely go with what do people want the most. That will be our drive right now.
Rogers has just said that count over. Good. Nothing like an old pun. Jolly good. Right. Okay. This tunnel goes on a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, although that was good timing because we're just about to come to the end of it.
Oh,
so we're coming into Marsden itself. So I'm
how
getting my
long,
brake ready.
How long is the tunnel? Well,
the tunnel is 5,000 metres long, which is just over 3 miles. It is the 5th longest tunnel in.
Well, good. Not. Oh, okay, right. Well, in that case, I'm going to my fact sheet here. I'm going to test you on some stuff. How much does each unit weigh? Of the 101?
Of the 101, it's about 30 to 32 tons.
32 and a half tons.
32 and a half.
But if you're driving a 2-car train, how much is the combined weight?
That's going to be about 64, 65 tons.
It is 65 tons. Very well done. Good job. You just double it. So that's how that works. What's the top speed on the flat?
The top speed on the flat is 70 miles an hour.
Yeah, okay, well done. And how much horsepower per engine?
Per engine, multiple units are actually quite weak. It's their combined power that makes the difference. So the 101 engine is only able to do 150 horsepower.
Very good.
But then if you combine them all together, you get quite a powerful unit.
It's almost like you wrote this. Okay, and recently too. Are there any 3-car 101 sets? No, but there are 4 and 6.
So because we're in, let's make sure I've got the brakes there. Yeah. Because we're in a 2-car unit, they can be then formed into 4 and 6-car units, so they can couple several together.
Yeah, I jumped off this point as well. I didn't trust the look of that dude. It looks far too shifty.
I think he's boarded, so he's probably going to come with us.
Yeah, he's probably just been listening to Human League or something like that, and now he's got ideas about his station. Double denim going on there, beautiful. Do you see? There he is. You in the tracky top. I see you.
And his mate coming down.
Oh, they're a gang in the 80s. They're going to start breakdancing or something. Yeah, clearly something like that. All right, smashing. How far are we along this route now? How far have we got?
I'd say I reckon we're about halfway through at the moment.
Okay, right, good, smashing. So hold on, I'll look up where we're going next. We are currently in Marsden. Is it Marsden?
It is.
And we're going on to Huddersfield. Splendid. Right. Is this coming to consoles? Yes, it is, but we don't have a precise date for it yet. And there's the game sound question again, Blaine Martin. Yeah, why not? Are there slight pauses when driving normal? Right. Will there be Dutch routes in the future? There's no reason to say that there won't be routes from anywhere in the heavens and earth in the future. It's
certainly with the release of the editor that we're absolutely as excited and as keen as everyone else to release into the wild. As soon as you see the editor, I'm sure content will be a lot wider spread than you currently see now.
Amarilyn's trying to get us to confirm something. What is it you would like us to confirm, Amarilyn? I am paying attention. What aspects of BR and this area have been captured within the game, and how was this completed? So what kind of British Rail aspects have you got going on beyond the livery itself?
So we're also looking at the uniforms of the characters. So the drivers are their uniforms have been more updated. I mentioned earlier in the stream things like hairstyles as well. We've tried to make sure that where areas of the stations have been run down or poorly maintained, that's reflected. So there's no shiny areas, there's no well-painted things, there's holes in roofs. We've got a lot of oily track on the route where maintenance of trains was poor. There's aspects of rubbish. There is overgrown trees. In fact, there's some really cool collectibles that I think everyone should make sure they go and explore on the route when you do service mode.
Are you saying that the rail network was largely knackered while it was under BR?
Certainly at this point in time, there was a level of lack of investment, shall we say.
Oh, good coverage there. I noticed that you've got a mix of signals between semaphores and electrics going on here as well. Is that true to life?
Yes. One of the things that we challenged the traffic signaling team was to make sure that we were representing the route as the drivers would expect it. So again, this area, depending on the parts that you move through, some of them still hold on to the old semaphore signalling systems, as well as in areas that were easy to update, they have colour light systems.
I mean, this route that we're running now, how true to life would this kind of timetable, I guess? How is this based on a real timetable? Is this one you?
Absolutely. No, we went out and we obtained the real timetables from the area. I have a winter one and a summer one for this period of time. So they come in like little books about this big. And they're absolutely beautiful. I actually want to keep them. I want to find some more. That's one of the aspects.
Eyes on the prize, man.
Yes.
There you go. See, look. If I haven't got to do everything myself, I'm far more diligent when it comes to making sure we're stopping.
Well, that's certainly a lot of brakes.
Actually, given that presumably it's braking quite readily because it's got a lightweight track.
And yes, actually going downhill, this may be a little too far. I may have done a nebwork.
You've wrecked it.
We've gone. Stop!
Yes!
No,
it wasn't me. I did not break it. That was all you. I gave you the heads up. You didn't do enough. Smashing. I thought it was going to be me that wrecked it. In terms of whether there'll be other locos and other stock coming for this route in the future, watch this space. I think in the fullness of time, between now and heat death of the sun, there's a reasonable chance that more stuff will be coming along. But we've got nothing that we can confirm or deny at the moment. So you're just going to have to sign that. You got a GG there from Matt. You're backing it up the roof.
Shh, nobody. It's scenic.
I get into so much trouble for doing this. I get told off and mission failed. And you can't blame me. My hands have been in plain sight the entire time. I did nothing of the sort. No, there you go. Any change of route maps? Maybe to add the name stations. I would say that was probably an editor question. So after we've finished showing off, and what we will do is after we've finished, if presuming Adam doesn't fail the route entirely, you're not even in the platform, man. Where's your level of professionalism for crying out loud? I mean, you're just waiting to be sued.
There we go.
I mean, there was an episode of Some Mothers Do Have Them where Frank Spencer jumped off a moving train. He ended up in hospital in the show. I've evidently shown my age there a little bit. I'm sure there'll be at least one person in the chat who recognises that reference. That scared me, as a Herbert, a young lad. I would forevermore, I would make sure that I was ready to get off the train in my station. After that, I would probably put the wind up. Good, right. Who opened them train doors? He did. That was not me. Look, my hands are here. I am in no way responsible for this ruinous journey that we are currently undertaking.
I've still got a green light ahead, so I think I think the signal boxes are quite spaced here. So.
Yeah, you say that now. Right. So after we've done this one, we will have a tinker locally and see if we can't get the game sound running. Because we've got buttons that we can press, and who knows what will happen. And we will endeavour not to wreck it any further. Oh, you've just been clipped there on Twitch. You made a clip.
This is my first stream as well. So.
No, that's no excuse. It's not your first time on the driver's seat there.
That is true.
That's rubbish. What's the reason for what? Apparently, okay. I'm going to test this one. DPSO Woody is saying that all three windows are equivalently sized, when in reality they're not.
We have looked into that extensively. We did see the feedback coming through from the announcement, and at the moment we're seeing that it's the livery that gives a very deceiving look at the shape of the windows. But
So
we have extensively looked at that.
So the model itself is that taken from blueprints or is that taken from observation?
All three we find. If you were to make a model directly from blueprints that either you could obtain officially or through third parties, the model won't have correct aspects. If you try and build it from photographs, you find that the different conditions they're in or the angles, they might play a part in it as well. So actually it's a lot down to the skill of the artist of combining sources.
Oh, no. You said that if you go from the blueprints that they use to actually build these things in the first place, the scale will be off. Are you making a commentary there on great British engineering of the past?
What I was saying is that it's artistic and engineering skill to consistently make the same thing from these blueprints.
Good cover.
Certainly when we've used blueprints directly, we find that things don't match up.
Intriguing. So the windows aren't actually the same size. That it's possibly a distortion based on the appearance of livery.
Yep. The wood paneling, the beaten metal, all those kinds of the forming. There's a lot of skill from the engineers that went into the real thing, and the same from artists.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. You're not Woody. You're never going to get banned for asking a straightforward question. This isn't that kind of stream. We're way more friendly than that. We might not always be able to give an answer, but you can always ask the question. Good, right, yes, there we go. Can you hang up family pictures? Seems unlikely. Adam wants to keep his job. Seems more likely. But he's got. They're telling you that you're giving a politician's answer. I mean, we could dial up.
I do a lot of speech writing for Matt Polston. Whether he uses the speeches is another question.
Perhaps that's not a great thing we should go into. Right, you got banned from Matt's stream for asking a critical question without being ready. I'm not going to go into that, man. That's not the politics we play here. No, we're just here having a lovely time. The weather's a bit murky. But,
we thought it was period accurate. We thought it was region accurate.
Are you suggesting that in the 1980s it was always murky?
Dull.
Were you alive in the 1980s, Adam? Just. Then you wouldn't adequately remember it, would you? So therefore you're judging things harshly. Flipping upstart. Right. Okay. Good. Marvellous. Abby live. Can you tell Abby says hi?
Hi.
You know what that means.
Hopefully.
Was it Abby or AB?
No, it is Abby.
All
it's
right.
AB.
AB live. Okay, jolly good. There we are. I'm just a flaming secretary now. Okay, carry on. Don't miss the next station.
I can't because I believe it's our final station.
We don't want to hose this again. Northern England is not dull in the 80s, says Vico. I was there and remember it. Doubt it. If you remember it, you weren't there.
Well, the good thing about service mode is that you can choose the weather, so you'll be able to set it in much nicer settings than maybe we chose.
Seajord or Seord, I'm going to answer this one because I already know the answer. Our Steam locos in the works. Steam locos will be along, but in order to get Steam right in the first instance, it's going to take quite a lot of work. So they want to make sure that the ground is hit at full speed, and therefore not yet. Good. That's a really vague answer. Beautiful. I could be more vague. I can do that. How about? You don't have to pronounce Vico Boy properly. I've heard it. No, Veco Boy. Details. Can we see the in-game map for the route, or are you concentrating too?
We're just coming into the final station, so as soon as we arrive,
we'll pop it up. Okay, good stuff. Also, I have a very real need to see the orbital bombardment camera. Please. Is the top speed 60? Yeah, what's the top speed on this route, or this leg? Did it top out at 60, didn't it?
Yes, we had 60, but there are also sections of 70 as well, I believe, certainly. I don't think I remember anything going up to 80, but certainly in the 70 region. The express locomotives, they're able to certainly top out.
Okay. So the loco itself is 70 capable. I'll take a bit on that. But this particular route caps at 60. You've got a red.
Yes, that's going to be the end of the platform. So we're just coming into Huddersfield.
You're right. You've got a red signal. You don't want to drive through a red signal. Trust me, I know all about driving through a red signal. Ooh, would you look at that? Oh, and there's some. This is Huddersfield, is it?
Yes. This is Huddersfield as it was in the 80s.
That's all being turned into flats and wine bars now.
Trendy wine bars?
No, it's Huddersfield. Good. Okay, smashing. This is good. I like it. Is that? Have you kind of done a graphic treatment? Because you've got kind of an almost sepia effect going on the
that's
station.
the tungsten lights coming through. So modern lights being LED would be more of a white colour. So in the 80s, it was more tungsten, more filament.
So you've done that through lighting, or is that the texture?
No, that's all dynamic lighting. Yeah, so that will wash out when the lights turn on during the day.
Nice. Okay, cool. Good view. Don't drive through that. Trust me, it ends badly. You lose all your points, and then you leave the stream in a huff. I've done it, and it's not a pretty sight. Good. Right. Smashing. Let's get off. Have you let the passengers out? Oh, they don't care. They're enjoying it so much. Actually, the choice between remain on the train or get out at Huddersfield.
Well, that I was going to say, yes. Maybe they prefer not to get out.
No, I'll do the jokes. It's better that only one of us gets murderated by all of the Northerners. Good. You've still got work to do.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Cool. Now then, show us give us a bit of map action.
Map.
Yeah. Come on, we're performing.
I've
we're
fallen
performing monkeys. We are to do as we are bade.
So the map
by the temple.
So we're in Huddersfield. So this is roughly the central area of the route. So if I zoom about, obviously the geographical representation. We have Manchester down at the bottom here. Standage Tunnel is this huge section. This is the centre of the Pennines that run about roughly this direction. So it's uphill all the way from Manchester to Standage, and then down to Huddersfield, and then we curve further down through Mirfield and Ravensthorpe, which is these junctions. Some people on the community mentioned Healy Mills. We don't have Healy Mills Yard. Again, it was mostly down to gathering the right kind of reference that we wanted. So we don't have that area modelled. Then there's a further tunnel here, Morley Tunnel. And the lovely sweep as you go down into the centre of.
They need the names on the map there, so they can see what's going on.
So you have Leeds here and Holbeck Depot.
Okay.
We mentioned just down here.
Nice.
And the original, from the line when it was originally built back in the 1800s, another station was here. So you can see the tracks that have gone into it, and this area is roughly represented. There's certainly shadows in the scenery of that area existing as a railway station.
Testing your geography based on the map that you've got here. Point to Warrington.
Warrington is in this direction, way over. You've got Manchester, so Warrington's going to be over here.
Very good, well done. Okay, smashing. Give us the orbital camera.
The orbital
orbital bombardment view.
So that may be something that I'm not too familiar with.
From miles up while looking down. That might be a TS1 thing. Maybe you don't do it in TS2.
So the best I could do is fly out.
No, I'm over it. No. I like to say, although saying that, this is worth it.
So you can see there, obviously TS1 We've obviously built a certain amount of scenery. We only model where the player is really going to be. So the further out that you go, there it is going to tail off. That's for performance reasons. But unlike Train 1 or Train Sim 19, the camera can only go where the player can go. So you can see the constraints there.
Nice. All right, good. Get us out of here, and then we'll see if we've just not done something ridiculously silly like just muted the sound within Windows or something. Oh, you need to finish your mission.
Shut the train down.
And that's a classic piece of British engineering. They've taken something from the Industrial Revolution there and bolted it into a perfectly reasonably modern train.
Take my key out of the desk.
And then a Yale lock in order to turn it on and off. Magnificent. Okay, good. Right. Well, that's. I mean, you almost did that halfway. Is that kernel failure? Yes, it is. Right.
Chat.
I am.
Oh,
yeah. No, that's me. That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm kind of recognised.
And there we go.
Well done. 18
so I was
miles.
late. I was late into Huddersfield.
It doesn't mention the one you drove into backwards.
Because that didn't happen.
If you say so. Right, okay, let's have a quick... I'm going to push this button briefly. This is the button I'm going to press. I'll keep talking, though, because we're going to see that something's happening. What we want to try and do here is get the flipping that over here. Right, you. Are you making any noise at all? Except the fanfare. No, that's a load of rubbish. Don't want that. We want, I'm going to go for high definite, not digital. Speakers. Raise a siren. What's that? Clearly this is not my PC. It's not the optical out. Let's try that one. Right, and then let's do no. All right, okay, let's try that. Do you know what you're listening for? Properties. Let's try that one. We're just trying to fix the sound. That's all we're trying to do. Device. Right, now then. Maybe we tell it to go for the Razer Siren. Although I think that might be this flipping ugly looking microphone we've got going on here. Digital, real tech, digital out. Feels right, doesn't it? Let's try that. And then if we do that again, does this all feel good to you? Does this feel... maybe
Certainly in the direction. But again, it's not my PC either.
I should reword that. There, all right, I got made it go ping. Right, okay. Now then, will the game comply? Well, make it make a noise. Oh, hold on. Yeah,
okay,
that's worth doing. Yeah, make it make a noise. Did it make a noise? I don't think it did. I didn't see it.
There certainly should be music in the menus.
Should there? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Is that not the kind of thing that we would mute? Hold on, I've just pressed the wrong button. I'll press that button again and we're back again. Okay, well that was a grand adventure. It's not making any menu-based whistles and bleeps or anything along those lines. All right, we tried. And ultimately failed. Let me borrow this just for a second because I've hosed the entire situation up over here. There we go. Consummate professional. That's what I am. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Whose PC is this? It's probably Matt's PC. Flipping that and all of that kind of things. Right, okay. What are we going to drive next?
So we're going to go with the 45. I was just in the train selection menu here, but I realised it seems to be rather dark. That may be the time of day.
Okay.
But yeah, we were driving the 101. So that comes in two cars. We have the 45 that we'll drive next. And then the 47. I wonder if it's worth, while we're just here on the menu, going through the Class 47 factoids.
Do you want me to test you on the Class 47?
Quite possibly, but I reckon reading them would probably be a faster initiative.
There's less opportunity for mirth. All right, get us loaded while I'm going through that. So this is the 47 that we're talking about here. You really want to read? Okay, I'll read it. Fine. Introduced between 1962 and 1987. Conversions from other 47s. 263 of them were built. Did you know that? Or converted 80 of all types remain today. 80. That's quite a lot. It's a cocoa wheel arrangement. You drink it just before you go to bed. It's 3 plus 3. No, I promised that I wouldn't make fun of the silly names the technical names that some of the trains have. It's 114 tons, 2,000 horsepower at rail. I'll go Clarkson with it. 95 miles per hour top speed. In the Northern Trans-Pennine version, we've got brand new audio recordings from Great Central Railway of both the locomotive and the horn. Wow, that sounds exciting. Dual brake implementation with vacuum and air. Then the small fuel tank. We're driving a 45. Why am I reading off the 47 fact list?
Because the 47 was also included in West Somerset, but the one that we've got in this route in North Trans-Pennine is actually a complete rebuild. We haven't just taken the same locomotive.
Stick wipers on, man. Can barely see. You know, we might run over a gazelle, and that would be perilous. That's fixed it. Yeah, that's different. Well, I like that they've got a bit there for manual wiper operation. They're clearly expecting the wipers to fail on a regular basis. Either that, or you're just simulating the fact that if you wanted to wipe the windows, I suspect that's not the case.
Yes. So because it does get a bit annoying, I don't like the speed that it runs at, so I'm going to turn that off. And yeah, I could.
You can manually wipe. Oh well, this is the last thing that I ever need to buy. That's gonna keep me happy for hours. I would have thought. Right, where are we going? Sorry, I missed.
So this one is driving rain. This is the second scenario that comes in the pack.
Okay.
And we'll be taking a Class 45 with a rake of coaches from Huddersfield up to Leeds. Unfortunately, again, for the people who said that the Midlands and the North were a nice, sunny, happy place in the 80s, we have chosen dull weather again. So I do apologise for that point.
Yeah, all right. I'll find something to wait for that. Second question: if you were to look over to the right there, who's she? Did we invite her? Because
we did, yes. So a lot in the 80s and a lot of the local hall stuff. There was always a second man or a second person, in this case, to look out for signals, just like I need you to do while I'm driving.
Don't count on me. I'm very unreliable.
And generally be a safe aspect of operation of the train.
Okay, all right, cool. You've got whoa. You've got adjustable seat height.
I have.
Oh,
I don't really want to mess with it while I'm driving, but
why
once we
not?
stop at Huddersfield, I do actually need to crank it down a bit because the blind gets in my way. So
adjustable seat height and manual operatable windscreen wipers. Flipping heck! This is amazing. Could we have the cab light off, please?
Oh, we're in a tunnel, so I would prefer to be able to see the controls.
Okay, yeah, proper operational standard. Honestly, you amateur. Right. Okay. Was it still raining in the tunnel?
I don't believe it was, but I hadn't wiped the windscreen wipers when we went in. So.
I didn't spot it one way or the other. I would hold you accountable for that. I didn't spot it. Right. Have you seen that the tunnel was lighted all the time? No. Just a seat height. What else we got? You've got a functional fire bell.
Yes. Now, I haven't explored too much of the functions of this loco because my favourite is the 101. I'm a multiple unit fan. So some aspects I probably won't touch live on stream. Even knowing the 101, I still managed to overshoot a station.
Here's the thing: is that since we've broken the sound, and this is just for the stream, worth pointing out. We've broken the stream sound. There's nothing wrong with the sound on the route or the loco. But if it's a fire bell, then presumably you could just pretend. So you can go, oh yeah, you activate it off this, and you'd be able to hear it back now. That's a nice part.
Yes. So step out.
Yeah, let's go have a look.
There's the doors. So we're back at Huddersfield again, same platform. We're overtaking 47 in the mainline platforms there. But yes, the adjustable seats. Let's make sure this rain doesn't come in and get the cab wet.
Did you open the wrong door?
No, I came in through that door. So if I go down here.
Yeah. Adjust the seat.
I'm going to take it down.
Awesome.
There we go. And now the blind, obviously, I'm a bit further down. It's going to be easier to see the controls of the train. I can turn the light on. Some people don't.
So
And
that's
the
because it's
wipers.
proper operational procedures there. Okay, good. Right, smashing. You can't criticise any overshooting of the station for me. I'm sat over here. I'm reading the comments and providing colour commentary. Right. So there is no game sound here. We've got that one. Would be nice for a scenario in the sunshine. Presumably we've got some sunshine somewhere.
Yeah.
It's always sunny in Yorkshire. That's what every Yorkshire resident will tell you.
I believe the scenarios that start from the Leeds end of the route are more of the sunny disposition, and the ones that start from the Manchester end are more of the dull.
Dude, you can't say that. Is there a manual available yet? According to asks Maya Manami.
Yes, there is. DTG Steve has been tirelessly working away to make sure it was ready. It's also localized into our supported languages. So that should be available from the product page. Ferramiro
is asking whether I can do the driving or not. I resist doing the driving because we do want this stream to finish in time for Matt to show you through the early stages of the forthcoming TSW editor, and I think there may be one or two people might be interested in that. Look at the nose on that one.
It is pretty good.
What do you know of the evolution between the 37 and 47? What's the difference? Because I recognise them, but what are the nuances that would tell you that there was a difference beyond the shift and shape?
A large part of it. So this nose on the front of this locomotive actually, I believe, housed the steam heating aspect. So this is there's a boiler where it would have heated water to provide steam through the coaches, and in some older shots you'd have seen steam escaping through pipes that were running between the carriages. In later locomotives they moved away from the steam heat system and they moved to electric train heating, and I think actually there are some cables also, because this locomotive is dual. There are some ETH cables, they're called, electric train heating, and that would have just been through a generator inside the locomotive itself. So at that point they no longer needed the nose area, and so for a lot of them, for reasons to reduce the cost of manufacturing, they just didn't put any noses on anymore.
Well, there you go, I learned something. Stone me. Okay, good knowledge. Well done. Nice work, Adam. Right, what else we got? So you got a functional fire bell. What does that do? Does it just ring?
So yes, it's if there is a fire in the engine room, obviously a lot of these engines get very oily, they get very hot, so there is a chance for bad things to happen. So what you can do is you can test the fire system to make sure that the system is operative.
And do bad things happen within the scenarios that you've got at the moment?
We don't go that far, no.
Okay.
We prefer to keep more on the operational side of things than the disasters.
So, just personally.
Your one.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I want it. And then you've got electric train heating with a functional effect on train performance.
Yes. So the briefing I had, actually, we can't do this while we're running.
Okay.
But it is possible when you start the locomotive up from cold, say, or when you're stationary, to switch on the electric train heating. With the engine, the reverser, the reverser that's down here, you would set it into engine only, and then activate the electric train heating, and you would notice that that is beginning to take power from the locomotive. So you might not have as much power, say, to apply to driving or climbing hills.
6 speed.
And then once you put it back into, say, forward or reverse, if you're going to move the locomotive, you would see a difference in performance to, say, when we're running now.
Okay. Wow. Cool. And you've got buffers, beg your pardon, and couplers mounted on the bogie.
Yes. So let me just make sure my speed is under control there. If I jump back to an outside camera, a lot of locomotives, they have all the buffers and the gearing mounted directly on the body at the front of the locomotive here.
Right.
But on the 45 and a few other locomotives, it's actually, you can see there is a gap. That's very dark. There is a gap
That's good.
Up there. And it's down on the pony truck end. There's actually 4 axles on each bogie on this locomotive. And yeah, so what happens is when the bogies and the wheels go around a corner, the buffers will go with them because this locomotive was so long. They couldn't mount them on the body because as the vehicles went around the corner, they would become misaligned and they could actually buffer lock, which is where the buffers don't actually touch each other. So in order to get around that, because of the length of the locomotive, they put them on the wheels, which meant that the buffers would rotate with the wheels around the track. I seem to be losing a lot of speed here. We're going uphill.
Well, you've got some initial application going there.
Yes.
Right. Will the pixel? I'm going to answer this one as well because I know the answer. So Triangle Hat asks whether the pixelated blur on fast-moving parts will ever get fixed. So the issue with you answered this earlier. I've assimilated the knowledge.
Good.
You can focus on not overshooting the next station again. That pixelated blur is as a result of the Unreal Engine itself, which tends to enjoy applying a little bit of motion blur when things are moving quickly, and it's because the wheels particularly are simulated perfectly, moving at the speed that they should be moving. That the Unreal Engine applies the motion blur. So the team are looking at a means of fixing that. Amaryl has just said it's a UE4 thing. Look, I'm providing in-depth knowledge and things that I've picked up and sounding like I might possibly be technical, blackie. But there you go. So there you go. So it's a UE4 thing that the team are looking at a way to reduce or remove it for the future, but nothing certain. Can you show the inside of the passenger cars at the next station?
Yes. Actually, funnily enough, one of the positions I do like to drive from is where you're rail fanning, say, or bashing, it's called. You would go to one of the windows or the doors and you would lean out off the side of the train. Obviously within a safe parameter, because that can be quite dangerous.
No, that's called driving dog.
and then yeah,
with your tongue flapping in the wind.
And you can see the motion of the vehicle in front of you, so you can enjoy, even if, say, you're a passenger, you'll be able to enjoy a lot of the ambience that the locomotive is providing.
There is quite a lot of health and safety concern that I've got going on at the moment, given that any service coming in the opposite direction is going to decapitate you. You can laugh.
We're just
it's
going through a station,
so
I've actually ridden this position in the game a few times, so I know just how close the trains do get.
Right, good. Oh yeah, Amarillo again with the lack of game sound. Yeah, Adam broke it when he went through a station earlier on. It broke the stream. The sound in the game, there just isn't any in the stream at the moment because someone somewhere is getting fired. What do you mean? Because so there you go. Right, okay. Now then, so that's why you hang on to the left side. So we see Dark Centurion, he knows what's up. Right, Moggy over on the mixer. I am paying attention to you, mixer people. So if you've got specific questions, in terms of when is it going to come to Xbox, it is coming to Xbox. For when, we don't have that exactly locked down at the current time. You see, look, I've got a head there. So TNGS Steve Williams has asked the same thing. Is this coming to console? Yes. But there is not a fixed date at the present time. It's something has to go first, and Train Sim being on PC first and foremost makes it faster for us to develop new. Sorry, faster for you. I keep saying us. I'm used to being, speaking on behalf of yourself. Presumably, it makes it quicker for you to develop new things with kind of a PC lean first.
Well, actually, it really boils down to we've been on Steam for so much longer. We have a very close relationship with them. They're used to the things we get up to and the products that we do. So we are just able to bring it to PC faster than we can console. With every release we do with Sony and Microsoft, that relationship is growing really, really nicely. So I'm sure there may come a date in the future where we can be a bit faster with this. But also it's things like logistics. So if we've got a publishing team, we want them to focus on one release, and then when it comes to consoles, we can make sure they focus on that really. So
So
there's many different factors involved.
So everybody gets all the right information at the right time. Okay,
Yeah.
good stuff. See, that's what you get when you've got someone who actually is you're a producer, aren't you? So you know all this stuff. I don't even know why I'm trying. Miller PC is asking, is it possible that trains can be turned off so we can cold start them ourselves?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, even in service mode, there are some trains that are running, and there are some trains that are cold in the depots at Newton Heath and Holbeck. So you'll be able to start them from cold as well.
Okay, good stuff. Yeah, right. Who's this? The DS Trains has said that he'd love to see Leeds to York in the modern era. So if you were going to go about, obviously there are no plans for a modern era Leeds to York at the moment, but in the future, who knows? But if you were going to build Leeds to York now, given that you've already built Leeds Station, would you, I mean, it's a different era, but would you still use that in a layout sense, in a geographic sense? How much of that work could you then reuse in order to get a jump on creating a modern version of that classic route?
Given the extensive change of Leeds, I'd probably say no. It would probably be faster for us to start from scratch.
Oh, interesting.
What we start with is the track layout. We make sure that everything is in place geographically for the spacing of the platforms, say, the lengths of the platforms, and then we would build from that and make sure that everything's proportional to that. Given that Leeds has changed significantly in the last couple of decades, certainly after this era that we've represented, then there wouldn't be much to be gained from starting with this model and this track layout.
Okay, I've got an actual producer-based question. So, do you use what software do you use to organise the production on a new route?
It's multiple software really. What was there any particular aspect?
No. As a producer, so you know, are you I'm looking at the word flipping, let me flipping, brain flipping. Project management software.
We have Microsoft Project. We also use most of the Microsoft Office stuff. But we also talk to each other and use whiteboards and post-it notes and just notepads.
School.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very close-knit operation here in the dockyard, so it's just a team effort mostly. Coordination.
Elton Leverage is asking, will the locos be able to be used on other routes in TSW?
So that is definitely possible. We haven't entirely enabled it just yet. So certainly in Northern Trans-Pennine, between the 45 and the 47, AI going past that's loco hauled, you may see a different locomotive each time you play. We're aware that the 33 can swap in on the West Somerset with different Class 45 services. But at the moment, we haven't fully enabled it that West Somerset locomotives, for example, could appear on Northern Trans-Pennine. That is a feature I think we're going to bring in quite soon, but more in 2019.
Okay, good to know. The word I was looking for that failed is do you work in an agile fashion?
The different project approaches actually depends on the project. So we have gone between agile and waterfall. We've tried different ones of those. It can even come down to a feature. So some aspects of the project might be agile, other aspects might be waterfall.
Over on the mixer over there, it's Guy Sergeant Hadji is asking whether we're going to do more freight transport scenarios on Xbox. Again, that's going to be the same as the standard question is in the fullness of time. Yes, there will undoubtedly be more freight-based stuff over on Xbox.
We certainly don't want to separate between PC and console. We expect whichever hardware platform you go on, you'll be able to get the same experience. So, yeah, there should be no reason why you can't get one or the other.
But there is clearly a reason at the moment.
Performance, we're still learning aspects of the software. We're still learning how to be as efficient as we can be with the software. Surprisingly, while it looks like trains are doing basic things, there is an awful lot going on under the hood. There is an awful lot of systems being run. And with every route, you can see that's a really useful place for that to stop.
There you go.
We every single route is an additional learning project for us. As you've seen with the backporting of physics systems, we have gone back and put in the stuff we've learned. It's so useful into our earlier DLCs. So we're still doing a lot of learning.
Check speed, dude.
Anything we can do to improve the software, we try and make sure we cross.
Thank you. Okay, keep an eye on the speed. Afghan over on Mixer asked how I would be a couple. You don't need to dignify that with a response, dear. Meanwhile, Stubby UK asked, does the fan on the roof of the 45 spin?
That is based on what you're doing with the train. So it is spinning at the moment, but if I come into a station and I've got no power being applied, it may stop as well. So it's actually based on the load that the engine is under and whether it needs to keep components cool.
Sounds reasonable to me. Okay, good. We're not talking about rapid transit, but I'll make sure that that's seen. In fact, there are enough Dovetail people in the chat there that if you ever do come up with what sounds like a great idea, or you make a suggestion, there are sufficient people in there that they'll record any that you have and have a strokey beard. Well, those of them who are heroic enough to have beards. They are I say, what's the? I'm not going to ask your specific question, dear Strange, but one related to it. What's the kind of the physical limitation you've got as far as route length is concerned within UAE to this kind of fidelity?
We don't know of a route length limit. The constraint for us is time and effort that it takes and the cost that it takes to develop these routes. We could develop King's Cross to Edinburgh. We haven't physically tried that, but we're not aware of limitations. It would just not be cost effective for us to do that.
So you're talking about, okay, that's it. Nothing new for 18 months, and then here you go, here's a whacking great route.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, I can understand that. That's there's always a juggling.
Yeah, that comes down to business economics.
Who was it asking about the 47? Flying Scotsman 4072. Have we driven the 47 yet? We're not going to drive it this evening. It is a new version of the Class 47, but we're going to hand over as soon as Adam has finished his expert run here, so that you can get a first look at the train sim world. It's a very first look. How first a look will wait. So we're not going to steal any of Matt's thunder. This is all Matt's section. We're just bigging him up. We're just going to make sure that there is maximum audience conversion between phase 1 and phase 2. This stream, phase 2, as you all know, is clearly the second of the two phases. Right, anything on multiplayer? We covered multiplayer a little bit earlier on. Multiplayer is definitely coming, but there's a little bit of tweakage and work and effort and what have you to do. So there is nothing concrete on multiplayer at the moment. We'd like to see Great Eastern Main Line to Ipswich. So yeah, I'm very excited. Especially if you carry on Felix as well. That's good. That's just because it's my hometown. And therefore, so driving out of the docks for Felixstowe. Yeah. I have to say, in Train Sim original, last generation, the modelling of Great Eastern Square at Felixstowe Station, very good. Not bad at all.
I was at Trimley. Is it Trimley? Not
Trimley.
Too long ago?
Yeah,
that's a beautiful location for rail fanning, at least, with the freight fighting its way out.
It is. That's true. Yes. Westerfield's arguably better.
Okay.
Yes, the next one up, because you've got the branch that comes in from the likes of Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft and stuff like that.
Yes, that's
that comes in as well, and you still get freight, and they've got a manual token system to get through that version. Details. See, I know stuff. Not much, but I know some. Certainly more hair than Matt Peddleson. Yeah, both of us rocking a full fro, possibly. Right. Okay. Good. Do you work on fishing sim world as well?
No. Fishing sim, just like both of our simulators, they take people dedicated to those hobbies.
See, now that I've started talking about other routes, everybody's just kind of go, do this route as well. Do this one too. And this one. Don't, rest assured, and I don't even know this for a fact, but I can state it for a pretty solid fact, more routes will be coming. There you go. So yeah, there will definitely be more routes, and they will definitely transfer around the world.
Yes.
And yeah, I saw a picture earlier on of something that wasn't German or American or British. I'm not saying what it was a picture of. You could be a source. You don't know what I'm talking about. I don't even know. Where are we?
We're just coming out of Morley Tunnel to Morley Station.
Okay, cool. We are going to actually make it all the way to Leeds now, right?
Yes.
Good man.
Leeds is just about 3 miles away.
Okay, smashing. Yes.
And it's still raining.
Oh, that's stuff, you people from Morley. You don't get to ride the big train. No, you have to wait for a 101 to turn up later on. And I'll tell you something else. That hasn't got a steam/electric heat box. Oh, there you go.
So you can see there the load on the train, because I'm going downhill. I'm not putting any load. The fan has stopped.
Someone call an engineer. Turns the light off. Good man. Good work. Right. Yorkie Bob 55 says, when you're showing off a new route, Adam, show it in nice weather once in a while.
I think the weather makes quite for the atmosphere. So it might be something like West Somerset does look really good, really happy, really sunny, and beautiful and green. Whereas maybe a British rail route or something more atmospheric, like the rain and the wind and everything, might be better suited for this one.
Keep trying to sell it, man. I'm not sure they're going for it. What he's basically saying is that 1980s it was raining all the time.
For us young people.
Psst. Rubbish. Nonsense. Total nonsense. There we go. Good. Smashing. Okay. Will passenger close? That's a good one. So this is, I'm going to work on the pronunciation. It's either clows or close. 99. He's asking, will passenger clothing ever reflect current weather settings like helmets and coats and stuff? Obviously, that's a nice thing to have.
Yes. It's one of those where we could spend an awful lot of time making sure that it is accurate and detailed, but then that might come at the expense of doing something more train driving related, like feature. So we just have to balance up where we spend our time.
It's all a case of take with one hand to give to the other.
Yeah, but as I say, we're learning all the time with Unreal. When we've covered one area, we don't need to relearn that for the next project. So it may be in another project we bring out more.
This scenery's got going on. That's very nice. Looks like you've got a bit. The heck was that noise? Sorry, it just sounded like something was coiling up to explode potentially. No, I get it. That's a good question from Close. I agree with that.
Yeah, and it's something that is definitely on our mind. Certainly with snow, say, you don't want anyone in shorts and t-shirts.
That bridge, I don't know if you could make it out on the stream or not, but earlier on there was a question of whether it was still raining in the tunnel. Well, we just went under a bridge. You might see it again now. The raindrops definitely stopped when we went under the bridge. Nice. Good work. Because that would have been quite a catastrophic on-stream fail. I'm glad I wasn't part of it. Guards, conductor mode, any word on that? Not today. Sound the horn, please. Make it happen. There you go. Oh, you can feel it. Yes, we've broken the sound. The sound on the stream this evening is balked, which is the technical terminology. Yeah, that's our fault. That's not down to the route. It's nice of you to say so, Lewis. Thank you very much. Our moderator is undoubtedly going to be saying hello to you shortly. Good. Hashtag fix sound. Hashtag blame Matt. Yeah, no, don't blame Matt. It's absolutely definitely not his fault. He hasn't been in the office for December.
And it's been silent ever since.
No, we wrecked it this evening. We tested the sound earlier. It was fine. We started streaming. It wasn't. It's down to the stream, not the software. Am I carnal failure or someone who sounds similar? Well, yeah, all right, sure, why not? Yeah, I'm Carnal Failure. I'll be him as well. No, I am the YouTube persona known as Colonel Failure.
I don't think I'm going to make it in the next 5 seconds.
I say this all the time, it makes for really good commentary. And what I was going to say about people...
I've been too cautious this time.
Oh, let's go and ride with passengers for a couple of minutes. There's not a lot going on. How far out are we?
Just over a mile.
Right, you've got all of the helpers on. There you go. They all look... it's not very friendly in there, it's pod people. But you see, if we're in the early 80s, then Invasion of the Body Snatchers wasn't that long ago. Donald Sutherland's been wiped out.
I do remember him.
They're all there. We're just waiting for it to happen. See, what you want is a Taking Your Pelham 1, 2, 3 simulator. Automatic version of these.
The original as well, not the remake.
Is Adam giving me a Train Sim World hat?
That would be a good question.
Feels like a no.
Merchandise is not something I produce.
I've got one. I've got a T-shirt. So that's all good. I'm supposed to be wearing the T-shirt and showing it off and what have you, but there you go. Klaus is saying that there's a difference between being fashionably late and BR late. Amarylin's going to worry the soggy sandwiches and cold teas. Yes.
We don't have a buffet coach. The 2 carriages that are included are the Mark IIA TSO and the Mark 1 BG.
Big Dog KS is asking for a walkthrough of the coaches. We'll do that when we arrive at Leeds. Is there going to be a passenger timetable?
Steve and I are working on one, definitely.
Jolly good. How's service mode for this one? Is there a full active and flamboyant service mode?
Absolutely. There is roughly 30 services from the real timetable of 1983 developed for the locomotives, and there are 60 services for the 101, ranging from
this doesn't look safe.
Ranging from either end routes all the way through to little shunts. The empty coaching stop moves at the start and end of the day. And even some Saturday excursion trains.
Carl OTR is saying that a buffet coach that was shut would be very realistic. I have to agree with that. Marvellous. You've got several people saying don't overshoot the station.
I believe on this scenario I'm going into a terminal platform, so we don't want a repeat of Silver Street.
How much is this DLC going to cost on the Xbox? Probably the same as the others.
Yes. Pricing will be appropriate.
Well, that's not for you to say whether it's appropriate or not.
That is true.
That is down to the individual consumer to decide whether or not they're being harshly treated.
That is true.
But what you can say is it's going to be the same as the others.
Right. But then they vary in price as well.
Did that 101 just signal pass at danger? I know SPAD names and everything. Oh yeah, details.
That may be a signal for a different track or for a different direction.
Overspeeding much. Come on, man. Keep an eye. It's gone red and everything. Do not overshoot the station. Stop playing up to the people in the audience. I'll do that. What's the big difference between Train Sim and Train Sim World? Oh, it's enormous. You've seen me cover it, Neil. The main difference is this is, look at it. Flipping it. It's great. And you can get out and wander around. But the level of fidelity and the level of freedom that we've got, and the number of controls that are modelled, and what else am I missing? What would you say there's another key?
The biggest thing is first-person mode. So you are in Train Sim World, you are the driver. In Train Sim 19 or Train 1, you are the train. So it's more about the speed, the train itself in Train Sim 1, and it's more about the driver in Train Sim 1.
Steve Williams has dropped an exclamation mark fail there. I don't think that's the case. I think you've nailed it, haven't you? Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to put a bit further in to make sure more characters are on the platform.
I would suggest all the characters should be on the platform.
It is
unless you're excluding people just for the sake of it, which seems a bit mean. I'd like a Gronk hat, please, says Woogie. I don't understand that, unless it's Gronkowski from the New England Patriots. who lost to the almighty Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl recently. Well, I say recently, the best part of a year ago. What else we got? Never mind, undershoot much. There you go, Dark Centurion said it right. We did undershoot a little bit, but that's better. Just means you're going to be a little Rob Gronkowski, exactly. Why is it raining in the station?
This is Leeds Station in the rundown, the under-maintained era, so they probably haven't maintained the roof. This coming through.
It is raining through the roof rather more than maybe is desirable.
That's right.
Right. Put that on your action item list, Adam. Colonel says less rain in the station. Right. Okay. Smashing. Third bit of a Train Sim World. There you go. KG Moose. Here's your difference. Train Sim World killed up all desire to ever fire up TS19. No, there's still merit in the old. The old dog has got life yet, I say. Do you plan to add more physics in the cam? Like a feeling when the train brakes on the
certainly.
With a camera move, maybe.
Oh, so yes.
So to give the sense of the physics that you've got going on. Oh, that's a tricky one.
Yes.
Don't break it.
The swaying of the camera, that is definitely on our to-do list. At the moment, it is locked to the vehicle, so when the vehicle bounces up and down, the camera does move with it. That is indeed on our to-do list.
I'm getting criticism for not knowing what third rank is.
That would be a Class 08.
Oh, good.
So a similar one was in West Somerset.
Oh, well, the shunter.
Yes.
Right. Okay, fine. Good.
And I believe, maybe the chat can correct me, it was because of the sound they made. The clunky sound.
Well, there you go. I'm not going to I'm not here to advertise my YouTube channel. But if you were to go there and look for me, you'll find me. There you are. There's the details. And there are people in the chat will tell you. Right, so nice roof. You should have the option to become a guard. Oh, we're looking through. That's nice. I remember these seats very well. They haven't retired this seat design particularly, have they? On the standalone coaches, I'm sure they've got a proper class name and stuff. These are still not these ones exactly, but this seat design is still in use. Southwest, going down towards Bristol, you tend to get a bit of this action on the older stuff.
No, it's very hard wearing. It was built for a lot of longevity.
Can you go in the bathroom?
We don't model that.
I'm going to talk to your boss. You know why? Because I've had this conversation with him already, and I say that in Train Sim World, where we have ultimate freedom, I need to be able to go into the bathroom.
Well, when you flush the toilet, I believe it flushed out on the track, and that's not an aspect we want to model.
Yeah, I'll allow that bit to be pretend, to be make-believe in the eye of the consumer. However, that's, Hi.
That's what I was saying about the hairstyle.
She's not in the mood. Move on.
I think they probably want their train to depart.
Well, we've arrived. Isn't this the end of the line?
Well, this would be for the driver leaving.
And on the subject of the end of the line, that's our show. So we've taken you through the first couple of locos. The Type 47 is also there in Glen, and as luck would have it, we've got one part. You planned this, didn't you? Well done, good man.
Producer.
Yeah. No, never. I mean, look at all his notes he's giving me. He said, ask important questions. He says, make me look clever. Yes, here we are in Leeds Station. You've seen the 101 and you've seen the 45 this evening. There's the 47. We're now going to hand over to the likeable, charming, and expert Mr. Matt Pedalston, who is going to guide you by the hand, possibly with sound. You can't really tell. Through the Train Sim World editor. There is ever such a slight possibility that the stream will go down and then come back up again. But Matt's going to hijack it. I'm going to push a button. Anyway, I've been here with Adam Lucas, who is lead producer, senior producer.
That would be Matt.
God of producers.
I'd like to be.
You are Matt's understudy, second to Matt, living in Matt's shadow.
But not yours.
Not mine, no. I'm Colonel Failure. You can catch me on YouTube if you feel like it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon. Good wave, like it. Push that.